12, Steve.
12, yes.
We'll have 12
Okay.
board members with Piper's resignation. Okay, there we go.
Oh, still a little heavy.
Yeah. Thank you, Jake. Okay, sorry, Justin.
No, it's okay. Thank you. All right, let me look. I'm opening up the city document. Okay, so yeah, I guess what I started doing is I went through the city document a little bit a little while ago, and just kind of identified some of the areas that I felt like would be touched upon by the Inclusivity Board. And I think that was kind of the starting frame, just kind of looking at it conceptually, and then I think narrowing it down specifically to determine what of our current strategies or our current goals align with each of the values of the city plan. So I was kind of looking at that. Let me pull up. I thought I had a document, but
I did the same, Justin.
Okay.
I found the 19 plan, which was fine for that time frame, was not going to be terribly applicable, exception of a couple goals that we had from the past to this current strategic plan. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me look here.
We're probably due for a strategic planning session.
Yeah, and that is probably accurate. And Steve, you have to just maybe have a little bit of the history of the board. We spent years doing strategic planning, so it became sort of this thing where we were so stuck in strategic planning that we never really felt like we were getting a lot done. We had a lot of frustrations at the board at that time, so I agree. And I wonder if we don't maybe just kind of take some areas and draft some things, because I know that the needs our alignment and our kind of overall concept by the 30th. That's correct, right, Cody?
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So we have, I mean, and not that we can't add details, right, Cody? Like we could conceptualize and kind of give a general frame, and then work in some work sessions. Is that correct? Am I correct with that? Yeah. As long as they have the concept of how we're aligning to the city's work.
Right.
Hi, Michelle.
Yeah, I think we should take on that task separately, just
Hey there.
because it's going to take time. There's no way around it. It shouldn't take forever, though. I mean, it should take.
No.
We should be able to actually do it all in one day. A good retreat and a good facilitator, and bang it out. I used to do a lot of strategic planning, so I'm very rusty now, so I'm not going to volunteer, but we couldn't afford to spend months on stuff like that.
Yeah. And because we met once a month, it always became the focus of our work.
Yeah.
So looking here, and I'm just kind of going through the city's plan, and I'm just going to kind of scroll through. These are some of the areas that I felt like we could really kind of look in. So let's just kind of go. I'm in the document, the COW strategic plan document that Cody sent. And I'll just start on page 2.
Justin, will you give the number of the items as you go to, like we have,
Sure.
they've got funny numbers, right? Like 1.1 point C
Yep.
things like that.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. So,
You look at goal number 1.3 point B. Might have some influence on that. I think economic development isn't using diversify in the same
Correct.
light as we might be. I
Right.
think it's
And I
more
would say it's
getting a
probably
mix
best that we stay out of their lane, because they already have enough other,
stuff.
they will do this well. They're far better subject matter experts in this arena than we are, and they also partner with the chamber. So,
And the
those should
reality
be.
of economic development is it's a crapshoot.
yeah. Well, I'm looking, Cody. I think initially I'd put down 1.2 as enhance the organizational culture of excellence that focuses on recruiting, engaging, and retaining an exemplary workforce. Not that we have a direct line to that, but we have been invited in the hiring process quite a bit now because we've been focusing a little bit more at the city level on diversity issues, which I think would align to 1.2A. Strengthen city workforce resilience, effectiveness, and strong culture around the city's mission, vision, guiding principles, and spirit values to contribute to the well-being, engagement, and retention of the city workforce. Because I think diversity and inclusion are in that. Would you agree?
I do.
I do too.
Okay. So 1.2A, I think, is something we can.
And did you already
keep
identify a goal, Justin, which would be facilitate our participation in what? I don't.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
want to be called on all the time to be the citizen reps on the hiring process, but maybe that's a role for the board. Just depends on how busy we want to be. So that could be a
well, and it yeah, and for like the for bigger, not bigger, but I think for higher level positions, I think we've often been asked our input and our feedback, and that's been a relatively recent development that I know Cody has negotiated and sort of facilitated with help from Dave DeMott. So yeah, I think we could let's maybe go through and identify the numbers, and then I think we can go through and then identify like kind of how we're gonna write the goals or set the goals, and maybe we could sort of have a little bit of a divide and conquer piece to where we could draft some goals and kind of work through initial meeting on email so that we can just kind of have a running record of our work, which then, I don't know if it's a Google form, Cody, or something that could just be linked in transparency to the public that can be put on our page, whatever would work for the good of the order.
Yeah. Well, I'm not sure about that since the Google part, but maybe there's just something we can do. We'll figure that part out. But
Yeah.
yes.
Just have like a running record that people can access if they want to look at the work,
Yeah.
So, but then we can have deadlines to where we could then submit to both our board and to the city as just kind of a running draft, and then we can adjust that to Steve's earlier point. So, okay. So that's kind of the big one that I saw on 1.2. Would everyone feel good with that?
Yeah. And, kind of related to that is 2.1.c, which is specifically aimed at the police department, ensuring recruitment in particular, where we can maybe have an influence on diversity.
Yeah. And that's something that's already been, we have had some presence on that. So that's a good one.
Yeah.
2.1C, which would align to that. Okay. Kind of looking at, I'm just going through. Yeah, I would say that of course, our work touches every priority, but there's some that are a little bit more specialized than others.
Yeah.
I would think 1.3 is really aligned to economic development, which, we've also talked about how can we cross engage with other boards. I think that will be something that we can connect with and talk to.
They don't have a
Yeah,
board, Justin.
2.1.
They just have the
No,
name.
no. I'm sorry. I'm thinking about
Okay.
just in general, like with general boards. I was just thinking, like as we talk through some of these things. I'm sorry, I wasn't. Yeah.
Okay, that's
I
okay.
wasn't
I
connecting.
was like, economic development's not going to be there for that, but okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just you get a dose of my my word throw out there. So 2.1A, foster safe and livable housing through proactive code enforcement and rental housing inspections. I mean, yeah, it's not really us, but affordable housing definitely is something of a point that we have. Would this fall under that, Cody? The affordable housing piece?
No, I think that comes down a little bit later. Hold on, let me.
Oh, that's right.
Let me skim a little bit more.
Okay,
I think that ends up showing up in things like community, because they're doing a housing study right now. By they, I mean economic development. So I think that's a little further down
Okay.
in this. And so what it might be is, helping support that, or if remember when Rich Chamberlain was on the task force once they had the study done the last time. So I think that one's further down. Let me find it.
Okay, no worries. We'll get there. But 2.3.A, continue to work with partner agencies by creating policies and programs that provide resources and/or access to places for people experiencing homelessness. That's definitely something that we can help support and connect with.
So the number is 5.1, Justin, when we get to housing. Give me that number again.
Okay.
Give me the number you just said.
2.3.A. That's around trying to find resources for persons experiencing homelessness.
Do other boards tackle homelessness too, Cody? Or are we pretty much the lead on that?
No, most of our homelessness efforts reside in parks. So the ProSlab board might, parks, recreation, open space, that whole, whatever all their letters mean. Libraries is in there too. So I imagine they have something to do with this, just because Kate Scarbeck and the navigators and the open space park rangers are all that's where homelessness lives. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I would also say 2.3C, utilize and employ best practices and policies to address the source causes of homelessness.
Mm-hmm.
I had that circled too.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And that's what I was talking about. I guess I was sort of jumping ahead, but yeah. Oh, let me look here. So 3.1 A, 3.1B.
I had, in addition to that, 3.2 AI could get involved with HOAs outreach, and both of those under 3.1. 3.2 AI and 3.2 A double I.
So talk to me about the HOA piece. What would that fall under as far as
I
our
had set a goal, participate in 20 outreach events to the HOAs as part of the team that goes out and talks to them. I mean, that to me, that's actually an objective. That to me would be a role that our board could play by divvying up and helping community engagement. What is community engagement? Is that a department?
We have one individual whose title is community outreach liaison, and he is part of the communications team. Um, the the work is primarily, well, and was initiated around city council's outreach and engagement, and then over time has evolved. So he sort of helps with other groups, like he's helping Parks put on an open house at Irving Street in a couple weeks.
Yeah, and I would agree. I would maybe keep it in the yeah, I see what you're saying, Steve. Yes, but both a I and a double I, A1 and A2, I guess. But I think 3.2.A, develop a more proactive two-way communication and cross-departmental approach to neighborhoods throughout the city, including those with and without formal. Yeah, I think we can definitely, we're looking to outreach to all of our neighborhoods. So I think 3.2.A would be something that we could work with. Yes, for sure. And just, yeah, from that framework. Yeah, 3.3A.
And B.
3.3B, yeah.
I noticed there for
So
A,
3.3A is really a sidewalk. It's written funny here. This isn't a space for us. This is a technical space.
Got the implementation of ADA.
Uh-huh.
Transition plan. Oh, that's sidewalk issue.
Yeah. For the most part, that's what this relates to.
Well, I
is
just
continuity
remember
of sidewalks. So you can't see, so the council Monday night is gonna vote on some staff recommended changes to the strategic plan, and this is all
Okay.
about sidewalk. And the performance measure with this one is hard because it's not like we had to go back and figure out what that question was and what the guidelines were, because we did the strategic plan a year ago. So just so you know, that is specific to transportation, sidewalks, that sort of thing, roadway improvements. That's not like our other ADA items, like accessibility through ramps or vision or things like that. So just to
Okay,
clarify.
great.
So,
Yeah, so
Cody,
I don't want to necessarily.
Cody, help me out here. As I was driving, I should have taken a picture. As I was driving down Lowell, coming back from the swim and fitness center one day, coming towards me, driving down the road was a person with disabilities on his, I don't know what you call those things, scooter, because there wasn't any sidewalk.
Right.
That to me is an inclusivity issue.
I'm not saying no. I just think that there's a technical space for that. We as the inclusivity board can identify it for staff, but that's not something that we can do. We don't determine funding or prioritize what elements are repaired, and the like complexity and layers of how to address some of those issues are quite deep based on ownership and setbacks and land. So it's not so I would suggest that we stay out of that lane, because it's I don't think it's a place where we can be successful, because we have a really awesome team who's really good at this. And I will tell you, I've been here about 7 years now, and I've heard these things, especially on Lowell, for years, but there's a whole layered set of reasons why things haven't been done yet, and partners that have to be involved. And so I don't want it to be a frustrating endeavor when there's so many other opportunities to be successful.
Okay.
Well, yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, but 3.3B continue from community diversity and planning and preparing for programs throughout the city. That's something we could certainly support. We don't want to necessarily be the sidewalk police what I'm hearing
Right.
Cody say. So yeah, I get you.
All right.
I mean, you can, but I don't know that it'd be a lot of banging your head against the wall. I don't know if it's
It sounds
it's not
like
going to be helpful for you.
a great job right now,
I
but you
guess
know,
the-
whatever.
I guess the only goal that I thought of out of that was advocate for more sidewalks with the council. That would be.
And you can do that, but that's, again, I don't think that that's where your energy should go.
Well, and the other aspect is there's obviously an ADA transition plan, so I would presume that you know is in there
Well, and
somewhere.
there's a
But
large transportation and mobility plan that outlines a whole lot of things that's citywide. So, you know, those things exist and are in motion. I think the transportation and mobility plan was just approved maybe earlier in the summer. So work will start to be done. And then there's always funding issues and the other pieces that go into that. So maybe revisit that one in a couple years to see if it's really going anywhere. But I think for now, probably not our lane.
okay, so I think 3.3B can kind of fit that fine. 4.1 is you know, that's a little bit more logistics around acquisition of space, things like that. 4.2 I saw 4.2C continue utility bill assistance program, so that could be something that we help bring awareness to. But also, I kind of saw 4.2A as something that might be interesting. Perform periodic review of fees and fine structures. I know that that's a little bit of a different issue. It's more of a policy and budget issue. It's logistics, but you know, I know that many of our members of the board might wonder, you know, if people who are having challenged with fixed income have to deal with fees and all of those things, like, I don't know, I imagine a question of access could come from that perspective. What are your thoughts?
This one was set up for council directed staff specifically on this one because it's not clear. And so so we would be ahead, like we would be jumping in something where the work's not yet been accomplished.
Okay, so
and for
4.2A is
yeah,
kind of like a question at this point. Yeah.
right. It's sort of like, we need you to do this before budget so that we can be informed with budget process, which starts very soon. It's already started.
Yeah.
Ends.
Yeah, it never ends, right? 4.3A, definitely something that we can support. And then I saw 4.4 pretty much very aligned to what we're trying to do, you know.
Yeah, all of 4.3.
Yeah. 4.3 and 4.4. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great place, and they've been really happy about when they've asked for inclusivity board ideas, suggestions, connections, the responses they're getting. It's been really helpful. I think you know, Kate and the teams have been saying, thank you so much. This is really helping move the needle. So thank you for that.
No, absolutely. And then that's 5.1A is that affordable housing piece.
Right.
Okay.
And they're going to do that study first.
Okay.
And then there might be space, but I think if there's a need or a desire to have some support through their study, getting the word out, or, you know, people to participate, they're gonna, the inclusivity board would be a good resource for that. But I don't know where that is. So I do know that they're working on the housing needs study right now, though.
Okay, great. Okay, and then
I don't know if you have anything else in infrastructure, really.
No, I'm not gonna play the water game.
What?
With the infrastructure. Yeah, right. I know.
I don't know, Justin. So many opportunities.
The only one that I saw, Justin and Cody, is 5.5, where we expand the city's transportation and mobility network to enhance access for our community. This is a personal interest of mine. I did a lot of work on this in Milwaukee. We actually had a pedestrian and bike task force in the early days. Westminster is far ahead of where Milwaukee was, to tell you the truth. But I think there may be some opportunities where we could at least interface and say, hey, this neighborhood is underserved, or here's some strategies to get us to where we all want to go.
I maybe before doing that, we look at the plan itself. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
It's a
maybe
good
that's
idea.
a future piece.
Yeah.
That let's look at the plan, and then before we put that on this.
It's a review plan. Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
So we have 16 areas that we clearly align with from this plan.
Yeah.
Which, actually, I love the way this is written. So what my proposal might be is, because wordsmithing can take time, and it can generate, and we might get one or two done, today. But what my thinking would be then, Cody, would there be a way either back and there's a complete public record, right, with the people that are on or have been interested in this, or we create some sort of shared Google document that we can give public access to, that we just begin drafting kind of in the frame of how the city has drafted their goals. We align our goals more succinctly. Like, I'll go through the old goal, and actually looking right now, to Steve's point, there are definitely goals that align still. I mean, obviously our main goal is more of our mission is to make recommendations to city council on matters of inclusivity. So I think we can readjust some of these things, which I can sort of take a crack at drafting and have ready to go by early next week. And then what I think we could do is we could align our new goals really to the line items of the city. So, our first goal will deal with overall 1.2A or whatever, and just kind of link in to how the city has drafted their piece. We could, I could have a draft probably ready, because the city frankly has laid this out so beautifully. I think I applaud them for doing this work in this way. It's very measurable. Yes, and I imagine Cody had something to do with that, and Jake, but it's very measurable. It gives us benchmark of success. I think it's something that, I'm kind of, this is what I geek out over. So, and Steve and Michelle, if you wanted to just kind of think about if there were areas that you were passionate about that you wanted to tackle, but I can have a draft early, probably by Tuesday morning of this coming week. I'll work on it this weekend and into Monday, so that you could all review, we could make adjustments, and then have it ready by the end of the week to submit to city, if everyone feels comfortable with that.
I'm good with that, because today's the 23rd, and Cody, you need this in a week.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And again, we just having the concept, I think, is key. We can delve into it, and to your point, Steve, we may have to have a retreat just to work on crafting it out. What do the timelines look like? How is this going to fill? Or maybe this isn't capturing our work. I don't know. Michelle, what are your thoughts?
Well, obviously I was having some technical issues, and unfortunately, I don't know, did anybody get the emails from Alan? Because Alan was having
Jake's
trouble
been working
connecting.
Jake's been working with Alan all morning.
Just want to make sure, yeah, because I was having issues as well, and unfortunately connecting via phone at the minute, which is probably why. But I did not catch all of the items that you identified. Would you just mind just listing through them now that I'm in a place where I can actually read along?
Sure. Yeah.
I apologize. I mean.
Oh no, don't apologize. You're fine. I had technical difficulties too. I was on 3 or 4 minutes late, so no worries. Yeah, so Michelle, we found the easiest way if you have that city document up.
I do. I have it in front
Okay.
of me.
So here are the areas we've identified.
Okay.
Read the numbers. 1.2A, 2.1C.
Oops, hang on one second. Just 1.2A, you said, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. All right.
2.1C.
2.1C. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Great. Yep.
2.3A.
2.3A. Whoops, that's on the other page. Yep. Perfect. Great.
And C.
And C. Okay. 2.3C.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yep. Perfect.
3.1A
Okay.
and B.
Yep. And C. No, there's no C. There's a 3.2A. Sorry, I was looking at that as
Yep.
a C.
3.2A is
Yep.
one. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then we
Yep.
jump to 3.3B.
Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay. I think that might have been where I hopped in.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah.
where Steve was talking about the curb cuts and things along
Yeah.
or sidewalks that were missing, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I have to say, and I apologize because I was driving at the time, I didn't want to jump in without being able to anyway, I do somewhat disagree with us not being sidewalk police. I do feel like, if it hasn't already been done, which I'm sure it probably already has, but if it hasn't already been done, we do need to make sure that we've identified everything that needs to be addressed. But Cody, I assume that has been done, that there's something in place.
Full transportation and mobility plan that includes this. So
okay, perfect.
We don't.
Perfect.
And I want us to be successful. So part of the goal setting is that you can do these things this year because you're going to have to do it again next year and the year after and the year after. So, we don't, I don't want to add that one when there's already lots of work being done around that.
Right. Yeah. And that's
Makes
my
sense.
question is whether or not, because if it hadn't been done, then that is something that absolutely we would need to suggest that city council direct city staff to do. So if it's been done, then yep, I'm in agreement. That was the only thing I missed, the ability to ask.
Yeah, no, and thank you, Michelle.
Clarify for me, Cody. Can't we set multi-year goals? I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
You can, but city council will be including a goal and potentially has the potential to Monday night include a goal about revisiting the structure and framework for boards and commissions. And so I think sticking in the 1-year plan is probably the best place until we know what happens next.
Oh, in case we go out of business.
In case we go out of business.
Got it.
3.3. No, Michelle, thank you. You're right. I mean, I was being facetious. We absolutely should be all about access and remember when we were doing the ambassador work, going and visiting the ARC, and how I talked to people who persons in wheelchairs who no one actually goes in and sits down in a wheelchair when they're designing these buildings often to see the perspective and see actually the use, because measurement and there are obviously certain things that permits require, but when we talk about ease of use for persons in wheelchairs, for example, there's a little bit of a miss still. So like what the recommendation is, have your construction foreman go in a wheelchair, get the perspective as they're using a bathroom, for example, right?
And the buildings are being audited.
Yeah.
I think by an outside consultant who the city contracts with. So I'm not saying this isn't good or important work. I'm just saying that there are things already being done. And so I don't want us to step into something where we could use energy elsewhere and be,
No, Cody. That's what I got. It sounds like it's already been policed right now. That's the transition plan. But it would be interesting to see the transition plan, if nothing else. Like if there's anything we could support or assist with. So, but yeah, that's where you jumped in, then Michelle, and then
Okay,
we hit the other
I'm up
areas.
to speed on that.
Yeah.
So getting back to your question of whether or not we're all in agreement to have you go off and write some stuff up, I'm 100%.
Okay. Yeah, I'll draft some things. I'll kind of reframe a document that is essentially the draft. It will follow the same outline as the cities, just because it makes sense to streamline those things. And then, like I said, I'll present that early next week.
Do you need
Perfect.
the rest of the items, Michelle, or are you okay?
No, I'm good because I listened in from that point forward.
Okay, you got the 2A and stuff. Good.
And Justin, just so you know, Alan and I have talked briefly about like the idea of sort of a neighborhood ambassador program that we could include as a recommendation to council within that communications section.
Okay, perfect.
Because their goals of reaching 25% of the city, in my estimation, is I mean, it's hard to reach people, but that is a very low that's been set. And I just feel like, you know, we can maybe try and find ways to help them raise that bar.
Yeah. No, I would, I love that idea. Well, and if you have anything that, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's just really kind of, I mean, that's in a sense, it's kind of our purpose. Certainly, I think in terms of what the current council thinks of the board's function is really just a sort of, you know, it's inclusivity. It's less about diversity and equity, but more about inclusivity. And I think that that's communication all the way.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and if you have ideas and you want them implemented, again, but Cody, if we can figure out a way to where I don't mind, you know, whatever the city process is, if you can figure out what it would be the best sharing document so people can just jump on and make changes, you know, and like I said.
Well, we're having problems with Teams because that's the way we share it is Teams or Microsoft based, or OneDrive, and I don't know what the security limitations are. So unfortunately, I think it might have to be a round robin. I will ask, but I think that there's a good chance we're just going to have to round robin it. Sorry.
Well, we can structure it. I'll send out, so the plan will be this. I'll send out a draft of an email with this information, and then if you make changes, and then submit it with the date and I guess the time you've made the change, and then we can work on that and operate on the newest one. And I'll take everyone's feedback and input, and I'll try to assimilate it as I need to so that we can create one sort of master document. In the meantime, Cody, if there's an easier way, then yeah, let us know. But
I will. I'll ask them right now.
Okay.
Sounds good, guys.
Alan's just now able to join.
Oh.
Aww.
Hi, Alan.
We did all the work. His audio is still bad. You hear anything?
No, I can't hear anything. I see that he's talking or something's happening, but.
You can hear me?
Oh, yeah, we can.
Okay.
Oh, I can, yeah.
Well, now that the work is done.
Yeah, no.
First step.
Alan, I can update you pretty quickly. What we did is we went through the city plan and we identified the key items that we felt that we would have impact or, you know, could support or structure from the city plan. So we've identified 16 sub items. And then what I'm planning to do is I'm planning to go through and I'm going to kind of look at our strategic plan and rewrite some things. I'm going to align a document that looks similar to the city's document, but for the inclusivity board. I'm going to draft that and I'm going to have that to each of you three, you, Michelle, and Steve, with Cody and Jake by early next week. And then we're just going to make changes and kind of do email back and forth checks until we feel like we've got something good. And then we understand that we're going to move forward sort of a draft that even though the city will get this draft by the 30th, we understand it's a work in progress, and we may need to delve in and do like a little retreat to really talk about like timelines and specific measurable outcomes that we could use for success. So, and we're keeping it to a 1-year timeline because the city council is currently thinking about how they're restructuring timelines around boards and such. So did that capture, I think, the general overall piece of what we're doing?
Okay, sure, I understand. It just took me a long time to figure out. I had to go and download another browser. And yeah.
Oh, well,
So anyway.
Well, you were missed, but I'm glad you were able to jump on. We will though, like you can review and then you can make any changes or any recommendations you have, and then we'll assimilate all of those into a big thing. We are talking about trying to find an easy Google sharing document, but Cody is checking into that. In the meantime, we'll just plan to email it out. So it'll be kind of an email that is open record between all of us on this meeting. So.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, sorry I couldn't get in. So is the meeting done?
I think for what we have, this portion, I think for what we have right now, but and Alan, if you want to connect offline, like we can talk through some things too, if you would like. So.
Okay, just send me an email.
Okay.
Okay, so
all right.
I guess I'll click leave.
Sorry, I know you just got here, so.
Bummer.
So, all right. Well, thank you all. Thanks for taking some time to, help support this work, and we will, I think, be in good shape to get a draft of a plan moving forward to city next week. So.
Lots to do.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your leadership, Justin, as usual.
Well, no, thank you all.
Justin, will you stick for 1 second, please?
Yep, I sure will.
Thank you.
Okay, ciao.
All right. Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Alan. Thank you, Michelle. Thanks,
Thank
Steve.
you, everyone.
Hi, buddy. I have
Hi.
had COVID and flu and